Yo, today we're gonna be deconstructing Right Amount of Wrong, a fan favorite by popular request. I'm gonna break down the track, tell you the background story, and just show you basically my ideas when I was producing the track. Shout out to everyone who did the Right Amount of Wrong challenge, by the way. Over 200 dances from all around the world, millions of views. I appreciate everybody who participated so much. And now let's get into the story of Right Amount of Wrong. So the initial idea of the track, basically, it started with my mom. My mom saw somewhere this phrase, right amount of wrong, and she brought it to my attention. She said, you should name a track after this, or you should do something with this idea. So I sat with it for a little bit. I'm like, you know what? It kind of has a little spark to it. So I thought about it for a second, and I started making the beat around this idea. And I came up basically with the one line, just the right amount of wrong. And I laid that down, I pitched my voice just to start getting some ideas and see how I was gonna do it. I called my brother D Lyles in the studio, and we basically laid all the vocals really fast. This track primary focus, I would say, is it's vocal oriented. There's a lot of stacks, a lot of harmonies, a lot of different elements with the voice. It's really a vocal led track. So my initial idea, here's the session right here in front of us. I'm gonna break it down for you. Again, this is broken down in the track out section. I have a production session where I bounce down all the effects into raw audio and then bring it into this section so everything's more organized, more concise. I get my levels better before I send it out for mastering. Our main elements here is we have an ARP, we have two different bass lines, a clap, a crash, drums being snare, hi-hats, effects, crashes and sweeps. We have the kick, the sub bass, the main synth, the vocals, and what makes the track unique to me is the vocal chop element. I'm gonna show you basically the synth bass because it leads the track throughout the whole motion from start to finish. When I produce a lot of these different house tracks, I really like to start with the bass line because I feel the whole groove and the whole vocal element and the vocal melodies will come off the bass line. My initial idea was with this, when I had the bass line, was like that Show You Love type of vibe by Robin Schulz, like really like hands in the air, euphoric, high energy dance party vibe. And I think I got it down. And one thing I did with the bass line doesn't change too much. However, as it builds, I have a filter that makes it grittier and changes basically the shape of the sound and the tone to make it more harsher as it leads into the drop. You can hear more higher end, more punchiness there, and then when it drops, I turn the side chain on and I add this metallic layer too to just emphasize the brightness and the overall vibe. I have the kick. The kick, basically, I just wanted to make it real punchy, real tight. This kick has a little more bass than I normally would put into these house tracks, but it really just creates that bounce in your face. And like I like to always tell people is that when you produce a track, you're not only thinking about how it sounds in a big studio, you're thinking about how it sounds playing off a phone speaker, laptop speaker, iPhone earbuds, all of those different things. So the kick and the bass have to be audible and also felt in all those different areas. We got the drums, clap, kick. Nothing too crazy, that real, you know, future house, deep house type of drum elements, nothing too crazy. So now let me show you the bass. We have the sub bass element that basically is playing the same rhythm as the main synth. Just to capture that low end element, so when the kick and the sub bass come together, you're in the club. Add that on top with the synth. Just that alone is the rhythm. Let me show you this element that basically I think makes the drop. It's this vocal chop section. The vocal chops happen a couple times throughout the track. I think the vocal chops make this track unique and give it that Gianni Blu vibe. I like to put vocal chops in a lot of my tracks, either background vocals or leads, and in this one I made it really a lead. So I'm gonna give you an exclusive for how I do it in FL Studio. FL Studio has this plugin called Fruity Slicer. It's an amazing plugin. So basically what I did is you take the vocal, you drag it onto Fruity Slicer, and then what you do is you do this medium auto slicing thing. which breaks it down into almost an instrument that you can play. And what I did in the song was I pitched it up an octave to get that higher end. But basically from there, I added reverb, compression, side chain to the vocal chop to keep it bouncing. So that's an exclusive tip for you guys right there. Fruity Slicer. It's a major, major key. Oh, and the last section, there's one section of the track that changes. It's like a Jaws type bass. The track has like a climactic little drop down.
I need it, I feel it, yeah, yeah. Oh, I need it, believe it, yeah.
So in both those sections, both drops are 12 bars, while on the last 4 bars of each, I did 2 different things. On the first one, I did that Jaws bass house type of vibe, but on the second one, I like to think of it like it's almost like you go underwater for a second. So it kind of, filter down the synth and all the instruments just for like, a 4 bar, boom, come back up and it rides back out with the vocal chops. So overall, that's basically the vibe of Right Amount of Wrong, I'm so thankful for everybody who's played it, streamed it, supported it. I've seen huge DJs like the Chainsmoker play it on their radio show. It's just been so much love over the last year for this track. I'm thankful for everybody who showed love to it. Let me know if you want me to keep making some of these deconstruction breakdown videos. I'll be sure to share techniques, tricks, anything. Just comment below. Let me know what vibes you're feeling. And yeah, that's Right Amount of Wrong by your boy Gianni Blu. Pow!